Folks, we just went through a period of time that is being downplayed by the media. The assault on Donald Trump, his former president, private citizen, president. But now we have learned that that assault was part of a massive assault on the entire Republican Party. Members of Congress, law firms, lawyers, consultants, businesses associated with the Republican Party. Something took place over the course of the Biden administration that is so evil, so diabolical, that the media don't want you to focus on it. And one of the shiny objects they keep raising is, oh, look at Epstein. No, we're not looking at Epstein because our country's at stake. This isn't about retribution, America. This is about accountability. Accountability. When you have a political party or an administration, AKA the Biden regime, or a Department of Injustice, and you have federal prosecutors and FBI agents and others who are using the power of the law to try and destroy Donald Trump and his family and trying to destroy the Republican Party, that requires our attention. Now, the Democrat Party has never been a very moral party. It's the party of slavery and segregation and eugenics and Jim Crow. The Republican Party was actually founded to end slavery. And the great Abraham Lincoln led a civil war to keep the nation together and to defeat slavery. And ever since then, we've been fighting the Democrat Party that rejects Americanism. And today, the Democrat Party stands for what? The old Confederacy. Now, what do I mean by that? I've talked about this before. They seem to think, these mayors and these governors, that they can defy the federal Constitution. Well, they can't. They're required to comply with immigration laws and all the other laws, just like cities and states in the past. But they think they don't have to. But they must. This is about a party that is embracing Marxism and Islamism. It's about a party that believes in socialism and authoritarianism. It is a diabolical party. It is an alien force within a republic. Its belief systems, its so-called principles, its policies are incompatible with our constitutional republic. They're incompatible with capitalism. They're incompatible with individual liberty and free will. They're incompatible with the Judeo-Christian belief system under which this nation was founded and our Declaration of Independence. And they know it, which is why they yell at the top of their lungs to try and change the subject. They're great at sloganeering, and that's what the left does. Don't tell me we can't confront this party. Don't tell me we can't call them out. Don't tell me that we have to keep silent as they are destroying this republic from within. No, we're not. And the justice system has been a particular focus for this party. To control it, to contort it, destroy it, and use it to promote injustice. Now, let's go back to October 29th, not that long ago. Chuck Grassley, senator from Iowa, Senate Judiciary Committee chairman, says, today we made public 197 subpoenas. Former special counsel Jack Smith, a rogue, unconstitutional prosecutor brought here from The Hague, who had a horrendous history of abuse of power before, whether it's the Tea Party or other people. And it's no accident that the Biden regime chose him. Out of 1 million lawyers they could have chosen, they chose him to lead the effort because they knew he was a legal hitman, and he did their job. Smith's case began at the Biden Federal Bureau of Investigation under the code name Arctic Frost. The subpoenas, which were provided to Grassley through legally protected whistleblower disclosures, were sent to 34 individuals, 163 businesses. These 197 subpoenas requested testimony, communications, and records related to at least 430 named Republican individuals, senators and congressmen as well, and related entities. Some of the records Smith subpoenaed from banks and individuals and businesses included communications with media companies such as CBS, Fox News, Fox Business, Newsmax, Sinclair, and others. Communications with any member, employee, or agent of the legislative branch of the United States government. Communications with White House advisors, such as Stephen Miller, Dan Scavino, Jared Kushner, Lara Trump, and others. Statistical data and analysis relating to donors and fundraising efforts. This is a federal criminal investigation with real subpoenas. Broad financial data relating to conservative individuals and entities and so forth. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is in tiny font. You can't even read it. The hundreds and hundreds of people and entities, subpoenas after subpoenas. Do you know how many lawyers had to be working on this? Do you know how many resources were devoted to trying to take down the Republican Party? And for what? Some massive, incoherent conspiracy about the 2020 election and the Republicans' effort to overturn it? Let me tell you a little something that the lib media is going to go nuts over. You're allowed to challenge an election. You're allowed to challenge it at every state. You're allowed to challenge the electors. You're allowed to put up your own electors just in case you succeed in defeating the other electors. You're allowed to comprehensively challenge election results. Ask Al Gore. Or go back to the 1800s, ask them. In fact, go back to the race that had John Adams and had Aaron Burr and had Thomas Jefferson duking it out in one of the most contested elections in American history. This idea that they were going to criminalize these challenges to the election, this is what it leads to. An effort to destroy the entirety of the Republican Party. And this was all done under the radar. In fact, Judge Boasberg, who in my view should be impeached, he's a disgrace in every respect in the D.C. courts. He allowed some of these subpoenas, and he allowed the government to keep it secret for up to a year. Shh, don't tell Congress. That's what he ruled. You don't have to tell members of Congress. You have Democrats dressed up as judges, dressed up as prosecutors, dressed up as an attorney general. And why isn't anybody holding this attorney general? Meritless Garland, responsible for anything. Now, who were some of the members of Congress? You've seen some of them. All Republicans, of course. Marsha Blackburn, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Ron Johnson, Cynthia Lummis, Rick Scott, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville. Oh, they're all so dangerous. In the House, Louis Gohmert, Jim Jordan, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Mike Kelly, Kevin McCarthy, then the House Speaker, and I could go on, ladies and gentlemen. And these subpoenas typically sought detailed records, toll records, including inbound, outbound calls, text messages, direct connect, voicemail records, along with subscriber and payment information for specific time frames surrounding the January 6th event. And the contents of the calls were not part of it, but it doesn't matter. Fox, October 30th. Two major phone carriers took sharply different paths when former special counsel Smith's team subpoenaed phone records tied to Republican lawmakers in 2023, according to redacted subpoenas and letters first shared with Fox News Digital. The documents provided by the office of Chuck Grassley reveal Verizon's compliance and AT&T's resistance when faced with Smith's requests, which were part of Arctic Frost. Now, why would they even call it Arctic Frost? Who knows? They should have called it Democrat Party destroys Republican Party. That was the goal. The FBI probe that led to Smith bringing election charges against President Donald Trump. I'll get to that in a second. The 12 phone numbers on the subpoena to Verizon are redacted and replaced by Grassley's office with the names of the lawmakers. AT&T received a similar request, according to a second subpoena. The company told Grassley the subpoena phone records were associated with two lawmakers, and they mentioned who they are. Accompanying the two subpoenas were gag orders by U.S. District Judge James Boasberg of Washington, D.C. That left-wing Democrat lawyer dressed up as a judge should be removed. Period. That directed the two phone companies not to disclose the subpoenas to the lawmakers for 1 year. Don't tell the senators. Don't tell the congressmen. Prosecutors can seek such gag orders to temporarily keep investigative matters confidential. They don't normally seek it with members of Congress. They're not normally doing anything. This wasn't a member of Congress. This was many members of Congress. the RNC, Republican institutions, Republican donors, Republican consultants and lawyers and law firms, anyone that can get their hand. David Schoen, a lawyer who appears on this program. And by the way, somehow this committee on January 6th got 13 of my private emails. I still don't know how, but there's more. There's more. November 20, this week. In response to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan's request for documents and communications between Verizon Wireless and former Special Counsel Jack Smith, newly obtained documents reveal that the Biden-Harris administration Justice Department obtained Chairman Jordan's phone records over a 2-year period. The Biden-Harris Justice Department obtained a grand jury subpoena issued on April 25, 2022. They love operating in Washington, D.C. They can get a subpoena, an indictment, you know the old line about a ham sandwich, a kosher hot dog, whatever it is. They can indict, subpoena. It's a one-way party. It's a one-town party, and there it is. It's a disgrace. For all call detail records beginning on January 1, 2020, including but not limited to records for inbound and outbound calls, text messages, direct connect communications, voicemail messages, addresses, as well as sources of payments, IP addresses, and location information. Now, the subpoena was accompanied by a non-disclosure order asserting that notifying the Chairman Jordan of the existence of the subpoena could result in flight from prosecution. Oh, yeah, he's going to leave the country. Where's he going to go, by the way? Qatar? No, I don't think so. Destruction of or tampering with evidence, intimidation of potential witnesses. Yeah, all these things Jordan would do. Is this not a disgrace? And this federal Judge Boasberg? The Arctic Frost investigation, which launched on April 13, 2022, formed the basis of Smith's election case against Donald Trump. And under him, the Biden-Harris Justice Department secretly obtained the phone records of over a dozen sitting Republican members of Congress. This is a massive assault on our republic. This is the Democrat Party using the institutions of government to destroy the Republican Party, to destroy a former president and now president of the Republican Party. Do you folks understand what this is? It's unbelievable. It's reported, next issue, Epstein. No! This is a big damn deal. And by the way, of course, the January 6th panel, we know how they conducted their investigation, like an old Soviet-style investigation, destroying evidence, telling witnesses what to testify, having a televised show trial, very well choreographed. They even brought in somebody from Hollywood, I think, a producer to do. What a disgusting disgrace. And they were coordinating with the Justice Department. Democrats and rogue Republicans on the Pelosi committee coordinating with the Democrat Party, the Biden regime, and what they were doing. Pretty unbelievable, right? Now, remember, pretty close to when all this is going on, what else do we have? The same Department of Justice sends an FBI SWAT team. Of course, they got a court approval, so hard in Washington, D.C. to get these judges to go along. A SWAT team on August 8, 2022, at 6 a.m., shows up at Mar-a-Lago, the president's private residence and club. He's in New Jersey, I believe, with his family, armed to the teeth, without warning to the president. And they go into Mar-a-Lago, and they go through all the president and first ladies and family's personal things. Think about it. Go in their closets. They go in their drawers and the bureaus. They take pictures. They eventually make all the pictures public to try and humiliate the president and the first lady. Over what? Well, he took documents. Okay, what documents? Some of them were classified. He's allowed to take classified documents. He can declassify them like that. A major constitutional issue. And they don't care. They steamroll in. While all this is going on, not necessarily simultaneous to, but close to what they're doing to the Republicans in the House and the Senate, and the entire Republican infrastructure and establishment and community, they're going after Trump. Mar-a-Lago. Yes. brazen violation of his privacy and his family. And what? Did he kill somebody? No, he's not Ted Kennedy. It's not Chappaquiddick. Well, what's the problem here? Well, what is it? The fact that he had the documents. He can't have those documents. And we asked him for the documents, and he didn't give them to us fast enough. We want those. So you break into his home? No underlying crime of any kind whatsoever. And ultimately, Judge Cannon cleans it up. She says, you know what, Smith, you're unconstitutional. I don't know what the hell you're doing. You're out. Oops, the case collapsed. January 6 charges against Trump. What charges? The amended 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act? Boy, you're not stretching too much, are you? Especially considering that the great Franklin Roosevelt in 1940 would not sign a bipartisan bill that hit his desk to outlaw lynching. I might lose votes. I'm not going to do that. The irony. They used the 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act. Why would they use it? Because they don't have anything. But they know they're in Washington, D.C. They got a friendly judge, this Chutkan. They know they have a friendly grand jury. They'll have a friendly jury. We got exactly what we want, in the location that we want. What else did they charge? Federal contract statute that's used to go after contractors for maladministration or fraud. What's that have to do with gender? Nothing. But, you know, we're reading the penumbras and the emanations, you know. And then, of course, the obstruction issue. Well, what was that? They use an Enron statute that talks about the destruction of evidence. That was passed after the Enron case because Enron had destroyed a lot of documents knowing that they would be subpoenaed and be part of a criminal investigation. What does that have to do with? Nothing. And the Supreme Court said nothing. So I don't want to hear, oh, it's retribution. Poor Jim Comey. Jim Comey has a judge that's trying to protect him right now. That's it. Letitia James, a judge that's trying to protect him. That's it. Poor Donald Trump. Well, he had this sort of part-time state judge or whatever he is. He had him in his case in Manhattan, and it would have made Stalin proud. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Now present your evidence. And then we had another goofball dressed up as a judge in a civil case with Letitia James, ironically charging Donald Trump with some kind of mortgage fraud related to campaign law, you know, some kind of Rube Goldberg nonsense going on there. And it was pathetic, outrageous. And now, of course, Letitia James is under criminal investigation for actually committing multiple counts of mortgage fraud, but she's got a good judge. President Trump did not, and so the law was not applied to him as the way it should have been. And then, of course, we had this grand conspiracy on top of everything else. Before that, Obama, Biden, the FBI, CIA, they have a meeting in the Oval Office. They say, hey, look, we know Hillary's putting this dossier together. She's trying to create Russia collusion. How do we help her? And what did they do? They ordered the CIA to change their official intelligence report that said there is no Russia collusion. Period. And what does Obama say? He's never had to account for it. Change the report. This is on the way out the door. And in January, that's what they do. And from that moment on, what happened? Oh, we need hearings, Russia collusion, 2 impeachments, criminal investigations. Don't tell me that what this administration is doing to try and bring justice back to America, to defend this republic, is retribution. It's accountability. That's exactly what it is. And by God, I hope they succeed.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.